All right, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about black magic, and most importantly, about the two most powerful types of magic that I've ever come across throughout my practices, and those other traditions that I've come in contact with and had the opportunity to learn from ministers and priests and priestesses alike. Um, the first one I ran into roughly about almost 15 years ago. And the name of it is Dream Magic. Dream Magic is something that is very, very potent magics because it deals a lot with the psyche. It deals a lot with the dreams of an individual. You can, through this magic, you can literally get into somebody's head, change their dreams, lock them in their dreams, release them from their dreams, and it doesn't even stop there. It in one aspect of dream magic, it covers the aspect of actually being able to help somebody dealing with, say, for an example, PTSD, you know, where they have constant night terrors. Whereas on the other hand, you can physically entrap them. You can physically give them, you can curse them in a dream. You can utilize dreams and lock them within their own nightmares, which is very, very fascinating. And I had the opportunity of becoming a apprentice of a high priest, a pagan high priest who actually practiced this type of magic. And there is literally so much about this one type of magic that is still untouched, because it deals with not only the seven layers of the brain going from bottom to top or top to bottom, but also the three portions of the brain going from the front to the back. Now, the back being constantly referred to as the shadow self. Okay, but as for the second type of magic, expression magic is something that is very potent stuff. It is very powerful and considered to be the world's most powerful magic. It's high witchcraft. It's high traditions. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of focus and a lot of discipline. And one of the things that makes it such is the individual's own will, that they can inflict that will upon somebody else at their own leisure. It deals with emotion. It deals with mentalism. It deals with a lot of aspects that can be in the wrong hands quite terrifying. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of people do not touch this type of magic. And you're probably listening to my son in the background. Oh, really? You gonna get that kitty? Are you gonna get that kitty? But anyways, when utilizing expression magic in the forms of black magic, on the other hand, it is something that takes a lot of practice. On one hand, you have to be completely focused. You have to be very disciplined. And in some cases, you have to be able to utilize your emotions much like a light switch and be able to flick it on in an instant just to connect with your opponent. Now, a friend of mine, I actually utilized this on because he asked for a demonstration. And this individual is, I brought his most inner demons to its surface. And much in the same way as dream magic, expression magic can literally be forced onto somebody, but also to somebody who's willing to experience it. In this case, this individual wanted their fears to become manifested. They wanted to see it. They wanted to experience the dread. But it doesn't just stop here. Expression magic can be anything from drawing glyphs to sigils. It could deal with emotions. Say, for an example, if you have emotional issues such as you're constantly sad, you're depressed, expression magic is one of those type of things. Really? What do you got? Yeah? You want me to turn it on for you? Here you go.
Let's listen to the song first.
Here you go. So, anyways, as I was saying, it's if you're depressed, if you're angry, a lot of people don't realize it, but you actually are performing some form of expression magic, especially in the form of cursing and hexing. Okay. In hexcraft is utilized as a form of teaching. It is to teach your opponent, your victim, some form of lesson. Whereas cursing somebody is, as you know, something that is utilized to maim, to kill, to cripple, to inflict harm on somebody. The the ill will, the baneful magics type aspects of sorcery. But with expression magic, you can utilize that energy, that anger, and inflict it with the use of, say, for an example, candle magic, sigil magic, sigilliums, utilizing, say, the sigil of, I don't know, let's say, for an example, just a second, Everett, no, come here, go that way. There you go. Yep, watch your foot in. So, anyways, sorry about that. My son's getting tangled up in some stuff here. But anyways, as I was saying, you can utilize candle magic. You can utilize sigilliums. You can utilize a photo of your enemy, okay, for an example. And if you focus your energy on that individual or that sigil, you can pour it in. Now, if you're into demonolatry, this is something that can also be utilized in a form of summoning, evocation, for an example, or invocation, depending on what you as an individual are how should I say this, comfortable with doing. And invocation is where you summon a being to your altar or into a triangle of evocation type thing while you're in a circle of empowerment. Okay, whereas an evocation is where you summon the being inside of yourself. Okay. So in this case, when dealing with demonolatry or angelology, you really want to, depending on what your intent is and what you're going to be utilizing expression magic in, is more or less you want to choose the deity that is going to best represent your cause. In this case, let's say, for an example, we're going to utilize anger, hatred. Then you'd want to go with Sebnuk or Samael, Ariok, Abraxas. Okay. Abraxas is one of those beings of extreme rage. He's known for inflicting rage or inciting rage between enemies, brothers, sisters, nations. He puts nations against each other. Okay. That type of hatred, mistrust. Okay. Whereas Ariok is known as an angry spirit, somebody, a spirit who is known for anger and hate. He's known as the Lion of God. Okay. Samael is known as the venom or the poison of God. Okay. Whereas Azazel is known as the ancient darkness. Okay. And to do that, I would also recommend utilizing the demon of desire himself, the demon of wrath and lust, known as Asmodai. Asmodai is one of those type of beings that really brings out the desire, and therefore you don't want to just use black candles. You want to also use red candles, and you want to use the purity of white. Okay, your intention is pure. Therefore, if you're into baneful magic and you're utilizing expression magic, and you're utilizing these beings of hatred and anger and vengeance, okay, you really want to utilize a white candle, red candles, and black candles. Black candles are associated with black witchcraft or dark witchcraft. Red is always associated with passion and desire. Okay. And white is always associated with purity, whereas blue is more associated with the healing aspects, the enlightenment, much like in the same way as Lucifer, the bearer of light. Okay. So you really want to know your candles, and you want to know the deities or the beings that you're calling upon. Okay. For an example, if you're more into paganism or Wiccan, then you might want to go with like Hecate or Set. Okay. Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft, ghosts, justice, and the underworld. Okay. So therefore, she's pretty good at utilizing things such as baneful witchcraft to go after an enemy. She's a lunar goddess in Greek mythology, whereas in Egyptian mythology, you have Set or Seth, okay, the god of chaos. He's known as the god of chaos, storms. He's highly respected and highly feared. In Norse mythology, you can go with Loki, or you can go with, say, for an example, Hel. Hel is the goddess of the land of the dead. She's the goddess of the underworld. But at the same time, you can also go with, say, for an example, Morrigan. Morrigan, or the three faces of Morrigan, is a warrior goddess, much in the same way as Athena in Greek mythology. Okay. Athena is someone that uses wisdom, but also war. Okay. Knowledge and war go hand in hand. Think of Sun Tzu, who wrote the Art of War. Alistair Notch is another good author on this because of the fact that he wrote the book, The Art of Cognitive Warfare. Now, the Art of Cognitive Warfare deals more with thinking things through, taking your time, making a game plan, and from point A to point Z. What? Hey, give me that. Give me that. But anyways, so you can see where I'm going with this, especially with the gods and the goddesses. No matter what pantheon you follow, you really do want to know the light versus the dark. Like, say, Hera is much in the same way. She's a jealous goddess, but at the same time, she's known as the mother. She's the mother of the gods. She's known for terrorizing and doing evil things towards humanity. Much in the same way as, say, for example, the Gorgons, such as Medusa, the Fates, the Furies. Everett! God darn it. Right back, ladies and gentlemen. Leave crap alone, please. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. My son is tearing up papers that we really need. But anyways, 14 months of terror. Can't let... Yeah, I'm talking about you. He's definitely his daddy's child. But anyways, so you really do need to know the light and the dark aspects of sorcery. For an example, if you're going into the Inca or Aztecs, those two regions have some very, very powerful gods and goddesses. For an example, Supe in Inca is the dark god, or the god of death, whereas Inti is the god of light. So in that aspect, and if we're talking Luciferian, that's like saying Lucifer is the lighter aspect of Satan. Same God, just the two different aspects of the spectrum. Okay, they're just different masks. So by utilizing expression magic, you can literally force your emotions and utilize them within any form of ritual or ceremony. In Satanism, it is more of the fact that it's self-gratification. So therefore, if you hate your enemy, you hate them with the whole heart. Okay? And you don't... It's... In the words of Anton Szandor LaVey, Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. Okay, so therefore, if you're smashed on if you're hit on the left, you smash them in the right. So it's like an eye for an eye, blood for blood, life for a life type thing. In witchcraft, you can utilize the balance factor. You teach them a lesson, but at the same time, you're utilizing a form of justice. Okay. In shamanism, it is a whole nother aspect because emotion plays in a huge part of a spiritual war, a spiritual aspect. In shamanism itself is as old as necromancy in general. So the further back you go, the more things you get into. But for the most part, when it comes to expression magic, you really want to tie in your emotions and your feelings and your will onto whatever you're doing, be it trying to better your life. For an example, there's an old psychological saying, which if you think you're going to have a good day, you're going to have a good day. If you think it's going to be a shitty day, guess what? You're going to have just a shitty day. And it's just that psychological. It's that psychological thinking that basically becomes known as a self-curse. So when you talk about magics and you talk about rituals, sigils, you got to know what you're planning on doing, how you're going to go about it. Okay. In essence, say for an example, if I wanted a better job, I'm going to put all my energy into the positive nature, and I'm going to express that through ritual. So therefore, I would use a being such as, let's say, for an example, let's go with Humat or Humet from most of the Grimoires. He's known as the Infernal Librarian. So therefore, I would utilize him to bring the knowledge to me so that I understand through the light of Lucifer, the bearer of light, on how to shine best in the direction that I need to go to do this. Okay, whereas Emma Iman or Zaniel would be the teachers. Okay, so therefore I'd ask for a teacher to guide me along those paths, to help me understand the knowledge and what to do and how to do it. Okay, whereas Belial would be the master, he who has no master, worthless one, and so forth. So you really have to know the beings. You have to know the sigils that you want to use. You have to know what type of ritual, be it one of the three, be it a compassion ritual, a lust ritual, or even a Everett. Give Daddy a moment, okay? Daddy will. Oop, watch yourself there, man. But and you really want to know, the destruction ritual. What kind of ritual are you looking to do? How are you looking to do it? What are you going to use? And so forth. And then it's just a matter of meditation. It's a matter of focusing all your energy onto that ritual, okay, or that spiritual working, and then go from there. Okay, and I'll be touching more on this in future rituals this week, because I've got about 3 different rituals besides, 3 different videos besides this one that I wanted to discuss and to put out there, especially dealing with high witchcraft and the various different types of rituals and stuff that you can do. I will also be giving references upon this type of magic, but also different types of things that you can actually do, because you can actually utilize numerology. You can use astrology. Okay, you can utilize tarot cards, chiromancy and such, and a lot of different areas that apply just to expression magic. And one of the videos that I have been asked to actually touch upon is protection and reversal magics. Now, I've done one of these videos before in the past, but I didn't really go into detail outside of some herbalism techniques. So in this case, I'm going to be touching on all of these, and kind of just lay out a kind of like a groundworking for you and give you that basic understanding, so that if you're interested in these type of rituals or these type of workings, that you'll be able to do so on your own. And you can always come to some of us who are known throughout the communities, such as E.A. Coetting, S. Ben Cayenne, Christopher Penziak, Azeneth Mason, say for an example, Bohemoth X, also known as Jason Nunn, Michael W. Ford, Stephanie Connolly Reeser. You can come to me. I mean, if I have the answers, I'll give it to you. But it really comes down to what you're interested in and how you wish to pursue this type of rituals and these type of spiritual workings. So with that said, I hope this has been enlightening. Hope it's been educational. And like I said, feel free to come to me and ask questions. All right. I'm on both Facebook and YouTube, so you can find pretty easily. All right. This Dark Sorcerer is out. Have a great day, and until next time.